Duel Review is brought to you by NexusDigitalComics.com.
This week on Duel Review, we're taking care of the movie Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, followed by the movie 13 Ghosts.
We're going to take a look at Altered Beast from Sega, and we're going to start off the week with Wonder Woman and Other Women in Comics. I'm RJ.
And I'm Nick.
Let us get to it. So, hey everybody, today is the 8th of August, and we're going to be taking a look at Wonder Woman. That's where we started, and then branching off a little bit into other women in comic books. So, we thought we'd start with Wonder Woman, and you and I both kind of agree in that it's a character that we don't necessarily care too much about. Is that fair to say?
I suppose that's fairly accurate, yeah.
And why would that be, do you think? What's your take on Wonder Woman?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Wonder Woman is a very strong character, with the exceptions of, her beginnings. If you bind her, then she loses all of her powers, which is just ridiculous. But she's an Amazon woman, very strong. She's intelligent. She's a fighter. So she's very much a counterpart to Superman. However, I think that we as a society just look at the man more, and there might be several reasons why. For one, men have the capability of being the monster, and by that I mean women are generally soft and pretty, and they're fun to look at, to say the least. Men, on the other hand, are chiseled and muscular, and we are cold at times and calculated, and
We've talked about this several times. I tend to be the camp of most women superheroes are too stereotypical, or they're whatever. I want something more.
right.
My feminist radar goes up a little bit, and I just want something more. Like, take for instance Wonder Woman. It seems like what they said. I mean, it's very true. She is a counterpart to Superman by and large, and maybe that's purely what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But it also seems like, okay, we have a woman in a man's world, so what does she need? She needs to be strong, and she needs to be invulnerable.
Right.
So let's make her Amazon, and let's put her in this whole I'm half god thing.
Well, I think that was also part of
And
science.
she's a princess. Besides,
Yeah, that's true. She is a princess. You're absolutely right. But I think that largely has to do with the time that it came out.
it's very true.
Women needed to be stronger, so these men built the strong woman for women to relate to.
But it just seems like a man writing for a woman and not really knowing what the hell he's doing.
But
At the same time, like my wife very fondly remembers the Wonder Woman TV program growing up, and was like, wow, finally a superhero that's a woman. And But now she's kind of taken aback with some of the finer points of Wonder Woman, and how it does seem to be kind of a cop-out. We've used that term a lot when talking about this, and trying to think of other female characters. So Wonder Woman, we're kind of in agreement on, is that, which at very least, she's underutilized. She really needs to have more attention and be reinvented. Now, of course, there's a following. I mean, there's lots of stories with Cersei and whatever. And it's interesting that you brought up the whole men being monsters, because Cersei is a monster. I mean, she's the wicked witches, kind of thing.
Right,
they are monsters, but they are beautiful monsters.
Right, and I guess that makes them less threatening.
Possibly.
Although I did watch a documentary that talked majorly about, women who, were mothers, and then they betrayed, and then, they suddenly became these evil things. Like, how could this woman have done this? In spite of the fact that men have been doing stuff like this for years.
That's true.
So I think mentally we are not prepared to accept women as these strong, heroic people, because it threatens us. It threatens everyone, not just men, but everyone.
You can argue how much that is culture and how much is, biology.
Right.
But I guess I'm just tired of seeing women and I'm sure we'll have more to say about this after I say it, but either in the I'm going to use sex role, like that's empowering, or I'm a total head case role. Because they seem to kind of diverge into I'm either a mess and a head case, or I'm super uber sexual, sensual, in control kind of.
Well,
and there are definitely exceptions.
Well, okay. Let's look at it as far as, again, counterparts. Superman has his strength, and yes, Wonder Woman has her strength. But let's take a character that doesn't have that strength, because, like you said, giving her that Amazon feel is kind of a cop out.
Mannish.
Yeah, making her a mannish person is a cop out, just like She-Hulk. With her man, in spite of the fact that she's as beautiful as she is green.
Yeah, they remain feminine. But...
Right. So let's take it that way. If a woman doesn't have the strength of a man, what tools does she have that she can use? And I think that her beauty and her femininity is one of them.
Yeah, but that is based on their sex. I would much rather see it a non-issue, and we talked about this when it comes to like black characters.
Right.
I want to see it be a non-issue that they're black. Like what they did with Nick Fury, even though I'm a little trepidatious about Samuel Jackson, that's for other reasons. It's not because he's black. I have no problem with that character being black. In fact, I think it's great. And the best part is they don't, make reference to that all the time.
Right. Obviously, you're talking about the upcoming Avengers.
Yeah. So, the recent iterations of.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I just want it to be a non-issue that the woman is Captain America. That role, that central role.
And I think what I had said before to you was I think it's all about consistency. If you put a woman's female character into the role where people go to her, or she's the first person in, last person out, and just make that consistent, suddenly we have a strong, powerful female role.
I agree with that.
But we don't do that.
Right. We should. I agree that consistency is key to that.
Right.
And I hope, to do that in my own stuff. I really have a heart. I think women are more interesting, as a lot of guys do. And I have more characters in my head that are female than male.
Right. I think though that as far as plot points go, women are more, where a woman is overly compassionate, a man can sit there and say, no, this is the right thing to do. So when a woman makes that same decision, we tend to focus on all the problems that she's having with that decision that she's already made. She's upset about it. She's kind of going.
So, in other words, if a man makes a decision, it's like, okay. And if a woman makes a decision, it's like, why did she make that decision?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's where we as a society want the story to go when we're talking about a woman character.
Yeah, I suppose. I just want it to be more of a non-issue. And clearly it can't be completely non-issue.
Right.
Of course, there's going to be love interest. There's going to be weaknesses that they have, and they are going to tailor to each character.
I think it's mostly a consistency issue, because a lot of the problems that the female characters have, the male characters have as well. Just we put these men in, leadership roles. We have Captain America leading, we have Superman leading, we have, Cyclops from the X-Men leading. And very few times do we actually see a woman step up, with the exception of maybe Storm. And Storm I brought up to him quite often, because she started off under the belief that she was a goddess, and she was entitled, and she had powers that, were very, strong. So she started off thinking that she was a goddess. Then she came to the States, and, after meeting Xavier and joining the X-Men, she had to deal with that, downgrade, that demotion. And that was kind of hard for her, and I'm sure she took it harshly. I don't really remember reading it. I don't really remember what exactly happened. I know that happened. I just don't know exactly what happened. But yeah, that was definitely a role, and I thought that was an interesting story plot, and I wish I read more about it.
She still gets gooey around T'Challa, though.
Well, she's in love with him.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I guess, like I said, you can't strip out love,
Right, because men fall in love too.
But they don't fall to pieces quite the same,
You're right, and I think that has to do with, the females nurturing, the females, again, men can be monsters, women are saviors. They don't want to make the hard decisions in these literatures, not in real.
I feel uncomfortable with statements like that, but
right.
At the same time, I can't articulate where I'm trying to go. So
right.
I just have to say that I want to see stronger female characters, where it's a non-issue that they're female by and large. Well, let's just talk about Well, first of all, I wanted to kind of juxtapose with anime, if that's
Okay.
all right. Just
Yeah.
to kind of segue into that. So, anime, I've been watching a lot of anime lately, and I admire how male and female both have extreme strength and extreme vulnerability,
Right.
right? The tough guy that saves the day can also be the, attractive girl or cute little thing or
Right,
whatever.
right.
Like, there's a scene in Soul Eaters where this big tough guy, whatever, he's still slender and kind of feminine, but in anime he's a tough guy. He falls to pieces with this little girl who has like a cute little dress because he's a father. He's like, oh, the cute little buttons, oh, it's so cute, whatever. Anyway, I love how they encompass all that,
Right.
and so they do it for male and female. It's just that the female are way oversexed, and they tend to cry a lot more, and it's kind of it's exaggerated.
Right.
American comics are not quite the same. They don't quite have that exaggeration, especially when it comes to female. So I'm more sensitive to how anime treats women, but they also give them very strong roles. And there are lots of animes just about girls.
Right.
So it's a weird situation. How do you feel about that?
Again, I don't look at things as far as, that's a woman in the role. Okay, I should follow this or I shouldn't follow this. I just follow the character. The only thing that I see different between a man and a woman in comic books is, their role. The leader role, the sidekick role, that kind of thing is what I see.
Even the way that they're drawn, I mean, they're both idealistic, male and female.
Right.
But if you look at the way a comic woman is drawn,
Right.
and it's not usually like, oops, I had my blouse explode in the last battle or whatever, which anime does do that all the time.
Right. You're absolutely right.
So I do, feel that we're farther along with respecting women in that sense.
As far as comics go, because we're talking about Wonder Woman, the point that I want to make most is people will sit there and say, oh, these women can't go attacking, like your wife said, in bustiers. But men are pretty much wearing the same exact thing. They're in skin tight, spandex, showing off muscles that humans don't have.
Right.
So they're just as
idealized,
scantily clad as.
Well, they're definitely covered up more, especially in the chestal region.
You're right. They're full body covered, but it's not like that. What they're wearing is armor. I mean, it's not like they're dressed like Batman.
I just really like the trend of more realistic.
Right.
Of course, it's always stylized. You can't, whatever. We're not doing these with photos and whatever. It's just, it would be a lot less interesting for everybody.
Right.
But I just, more realistic, more varied. Not all women look the same. Not all men look the same.
Right.
And just stronger roles for women, which they are. I think X-Men does it. You brought up several of the X-Men, Rogue and Storm,
and Psylocke is one.
Yeah, and they do a good job of giving them more power.
Maybe it's just America, but I think we are kind of moving in the right direction. But we just need to embrace it more. Again, with the consistency.
Yeah, consistency. I do agree that that's key. I'm glad you brought that up. I do feel that we're kind of taking a sidestep, or I don't think it's going as fast as it could be, but
I think it's going as fast as it will go.
Yeah.
That's our take on strong women in general, really.
Yeah, so send us your thoughts. Send us a message on Facebook or whatever. Respond to this and let us know what you think.
I'd love to start responding to Facebook or
it would totally
emails.
Be interesting, especially this conversation.
Yes. We're trying to articulate a huge issue.
We're trying to be as honest as possible.
And be as honest as possible. That's
forthright.
Right. So
all right,
thank
guys.
you.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, I hit it. I hit it again.
Oh, come on.
It's not sticking. Oh no. I'm out. I hit it like 6 times and I'm out.
I have one more.
Oh, it's a dud.
Coming up next, it's 13 Goes. Ooh. I am very red on the screen.
You are like a tomato.